isa po sa mga konteksto nitong midterm elections, itong upcoming impeachment trial ni Sara Duterte.
Yes.
And as far as I know, may ilang mga miyembro ng prosecution team na hindi nakalusot o pinalad. Yung isa ron, pasok, si Congresswoman Jinky Luistro, I think panalo siya, no? Sa Batangas. Ito, curious talaga ako rito, no, Senator Leila. Sorry, Congresswoman Leila. Because of your background, no? Would you like to be part of the House prosecution team?
Well, if asked, I'll seriously consider it. If asked, yes, why not?
Kasi it will be very, very interesting,
especially
no?
So, yeah, especially so. I was part, but I was not a signatory. I was not a complainant, but I was a spokesperson, and I was really supporting yung first impeachment complaint. And I do believe, I believe then, and I believe now that there are really strong basis for the conviction of VP Sara. Pero syempre, tinitingnan pa natin ngayon uli yung numero. Look at the Senate now. I mean, yung mga nananalo based on the unofficial count, medyo we really don't know yet ano yung mga magiging effect nito doon sa numbers sa Senate. But there are, of course, a few. Now we can expect that if the right evidence really are presented on the part of the prosecution, they can vote for conviction.
Kasi ako personally, no, tinitingnan ko po itong Magic 12 ngayon, although partial unofficial, although nasa more than 97% na naman yung transmitted na ERs. Sa akin lang po ito, no? May 5 kandidato ako nakikita na mukhang most likely kikiling sa acquittal ni Sara Duterte. At hindi pa siya, syempre kasama dyan yung mga kanyang taga-suporta na dito sa other 12 na nananatili ngayon sa Senado. So my point is, given the results, kahit very promising ito, when it comes to the pink wave, the other issue that needs to be confronted is the fact na mas naging mahirap yung pag-secure ng conviction ni Sara because of the developments sa senatorial election. I don't know whether you agree with that, pero that's my perspective.
Yes, kasi yung mga, since yung administration slate expected na magiging sweep. Kasi ang midterm elections is traditionally or historically ganon. Diba na it really tilts in favor of the results, always would tilt in favor of the administration slate. Yun ang nakita natin. Pero ngayon, maraming nalaglag na mga nasa administration slate. So, you have a point, Christian, na mahihirapan this time. But then again, it boils down to kung ano ang mangyayari during the trial, kung gaano kabigat ang mga ebidensya, at kung gaano ka-epektibo ang pagpipresent ng prosecution panel. Kasi kapag clear na clear yung ebidensya, ang taong bayan na naman ang mag-aano dyan ang maghuhusga Kasi yung public opinion yan, would again prevail. Kung yun ang susundin ng marami sa mga miyembro ng impeachment court kung sakasakali.
Okay,
so that's my take also. Correct.
Isa po naisip ko rito, no? Kasi remember when you were still in the Senate at medyo malapit-lapit na kayong ipa-aresto nitong yung trump up charges galing kina Duterte. 'Di ba may mga pagdinig doon sa House of Representatives kung saan marami sa mga kongresista noon talagang binalahura kayo kahit you were a sitting senator, no? Talagang hindi nila pinansin yung interchamber courtesy na tinatawag, yung tradition na yon. Of course, marami sa kanila wala na sa Kongreso. Isa nga rin si Harry Roque, yung dating human rights lawyer, nagtatago ngayon sa the Netherlands. Curious lang ako, no? Parang do you see this way na parang this could be a bittersweet homecoming of sorts, or at least first time na kayong pupunta sa house, no? Parang yung nandun kasing kontekstong yun dito sa house na ito, although that was some time ago, dito ako binalahura dito ako binaboy ng ilang mga miyembro, and finally magiging miyembro din ako. It's something like that. I don't know whether that's also crossing your mind.
It certainly crosses my mind also, Christian. Nung pa lang nung appearances ko sa Quadcom hearings Ganun yung nararamdaman ko. Yung para bang, you know, yung deep inside me, I would say, o ano ngayon, dito ako, pinapakinggan nyo ako ngayon, at nakikita ko ngayon yung medyo respeto at courtesy nyo na never nyo binigay sa akin noon. Nung kasagsagan ng mga persecution sa akin, yung mga hearings na yun na nagmukhang mas nagmukhang mga circus at witch hunt than an honest to goodness inquiry. Inquiry in aid of legislation daw, at yung inquiry ay tungkol daw sa bilibid drug trade, kaya lang lumabas na it's all about really persecuting me, yung demonization sa akin. So naramdaman ko yun nung nag-appear ako doon sa several times doon sa Quadcom. And now na, you know, in God's grace, napapasok ako dyan uli. Ay, papasok ako as member of the House of Representatives. Kung pag na-proclaim na talaga, I would just tend to brush it aside na, anuin ko na lang, ang focus ko, question is how to be able really to fulfill my new mandate effectively, na talagang makakatulong, lalo na dun sa mga marginalized sectors talaga, at sa mga very significant issues na nandyan, at yung mga mag-aano pa, yung lalabas pa ng mga issues, lalo na sa political and then also sa governance, especially corruption. So ready tayo to nasasabak na naman dyan. But I'll just really be focused on that. Hindi ko na lang iisipin yung this, you know, that this chamber was hostile to me during those times, because I have a new mandate and that's all that matters now.
Okay. Speaking of your mandate, no, primary responsibility naman ng lawmaker is of course lawmaking. Of course, nandun yung oversight function. Para sa information ng mga viewers natin, ano po yung magiging priority pieces of legislation na isusulong ninyo pag upo po nyo sa House of Representatives?
Okay. Since multi-sectoral kami, Christian, so ang sectors nga namin are women, youth, farmers, fisher folks, laborers or workers, urban poor, indigenous peoples, LGBTQIA+, PWDs, and senior citizens. We actually have already plans on what exactly yung mga ipa-file namin, ipupush for legislation for each sector. Meron na kami for each. Now, but then hindi pa namin na pag-isipan, and I have yet to consult again the ML as ML kung ano talaga ang uunahin namin dun sa legislation for each of the sectors. But it would most probably be on the urban poor sector and the fisher folk sector and the women sector. Also sa farmers. Kasi yung lalo na yung urban poor tsaka fisher folks, several times talaga kami na nakipag-dialogue and consultations sa iba-ibang mga grupo belonging to those sectors. So mas malinaw na para sa amin yung aming ipupursu insofar as the urban poor and the fisher folk sector. For example, sa urban poor, yung tungkol nga uli sa kanilang relocation kapag ini-evict sila. Yung near city, dapat near city relocation or on-site relocation. And then kapag may housing sila, ay dapat yung affordable, kaya nila yung mga amortization. Kaya kailangan talaga na mas may pondo yung community mortgage plan para mas mababa yung magiging amortization ng mga sa housing, nag-a-avail ng housing sa urban poor. Sa fisher folks sector, for example, malinaw sa amin na ipupush kaagad namin yung Magna Carta for small fisher folk. Kailangan talagang malinaw na may provision dyan na really limiting the use of the 15-kilometer municipal waters for the small fisher folks. Because of this Supreme Court decision, a division decision, say na dinedeclare as unconstitutional yung isang provision doon sa Fisheries Code of 1998. Nakakatakot yan o hindi yan maganda para sa small fisher folks, kung yung 15-kilometer municipal waters ay i-open din dun sa mga commercial fishing. So yun ang mga among some of the plans namin na magiging priority bill. Pero dun sa reform, kasi Christian, yung aming pinaka-core advocacy ng ML ay justice and reform. Hustisya at reforma. Yung hustisya, hindi lang yung tungkol dun sa hustisya sa criminal justice, yung pagpapakulong ng mga kriminal, kundi yung mas malawak na konsepto, which is social justice. Yun na nga, for the marginalized sectors. Yung sa reform, Christian, ang mga naisip namin dyan ay yung reform mismo ng party list system law and also the political party system. And then we're also thinking of yung regulating yung function and mandate ng bicameral committee. Kasi napapansin natin na sumusobra. Kasi di ba supposedly yung BICAM, pagkatapos ng yung House bill version ng budget, tsaka nung Senate version ng budget, ay dapat aayusin nila yung mga inconsistent provisions, i-reconcile nila. But hindi lang yan yung nangyayari. At wala pating transparency. They can do anything and everything about the budget kahit dumaan na sa House saka sa Senate. I don't think pwede yan, hindi pati transparent. So why not a bill regulating and defining exactly yung breadth and scope of the functions of the bicameral committee? Yung isa yan sa mga plinano namin. Yung sa party list system, talaga naman, inaabuso na yan. Kahit malinaw, maganda, ang hangarin sa constitution ng party list, sabi ko nga, genuine representation of marginalized sectors, meron ilan-ilan dyan na hindi mo masasabi na tunay sila na mga party list, lalo na yung mga pinuput up na mga dynasties mismo, lalo na yung mga party list na mga nasa likod, mga kontratista, mga big business interest. So, ang daming dapat ayusin sa party list system law na hindi dapat ito i-abolish because there are sectors na of society na yun ang kanilang pinupush, i-abolish na lang kaya yung party list system na yan. Hindi po dapat kasi maganda naman talaga dapat ang party list system. And yun ang hangarin namin sa ML, ipatunayan na maganda ang party list. Depende nga yan sa nagiging trabaho at pinapakita ng mga party list representatives. So those are among our plans.